Back with the WMAY morning news feed. Always enjoy having Alderman Shawn Gregory in studio with us, and we've got a lot to talk about, Alderman. Thanks for taking time.
Good morning. Good morning.
So tonight, Springfield City Council meeting. Last week was the Committee of the Whole. Of course, people who aren't familiar with the process, the Committee of the Whole takes all of the ordinances that are up for consideration, and they determine if it's going to go on consent agenda, where it's not really controversial, and they vote all of them together in one lump sum. And then they put others on debate, where there might be some more debate. So we'll hear some debate about a variety of things tonight. So Alderman Gregory here to kind of give us a bit of a preview of sorts. So Alderman, last week, liquor ordinances came up. The question of 3 a.m. bars came up, but also just the idea of ordinances that would allow somebody to possibly get a liquor license for gaming purposes, right? What's the latest you're hearing about that particular ordinance and the possibility of moving forward with maybe just a 3 a.m. prohibition?
Well, I'll touch on the first portion of it. The first portion of it was a ordinance to sort of separate packaged liquors and the gaming, and everybody else previously would be grandfathered in, and going forth you would have to pick one or the other. And then I know Alderman Hanauer has some suggestions about 3 o'clock. I really just don't think that this ordinance is the appropriate ordinance to address that. And, I just cautioned, like I did last week, us to not kill the nightlife and just address whatever issues that we have with particular establishments with the nightlife. That's just how I am. When I came into office, I know there was like a liquor moratorium that was going to come forth. And, when I came into office, I really like to take things case by case because everyone has a unique situation. And for me, I just feel like the city has to work with our restaurants and bars to help them succeed and see how we can help them grow.
Well, talk a bit about what a prohibition on a 3 a.m. license could possibly, what's the message that could send to, entrepreneurs out there or even people from outside of Springfield looking to develop something in Springfield? What kind of message would that send if the city's like, no dancing after 1 o'clock?
Well, to me, it sends a message that Springfield is a dull, not forward-thinking city, and we want to be that. I know there has been talks even before I came on to office of casinos and things. I really want to pursue that and support that. I think that's important considering how many gaming terminals we do have. I think it's a clear indication.
Alderman, did you know that we are the largest gambling jurisdiction in the state of Illinois?
Absolutely, yeah. I found that out some time ago, and it doesn't surprise me. People like to go out and have what they perceive as a good time. Sure. I'm really not a gambler like that. Never have been big on it, but I have been to casinos and had a good time, really just for the socialization. So, we have a lot of them. So I think it indicates that people in this area like to get their gamble on, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think we go forth and be creative and see how we can really channel that.
Well, and the city does get revenue from gaming. And it helps out infrastructure issues. So you're wanting to be cautious about what kind of messages are sent with kind of blanket policy of that sort.
Absolutely.
Alderman Shawn Gregory here on the WMAY morning news feed, giving us a preview of the Springfield City Council meeting. So you're not anticipating much to happen with either of those, either the kind of restricting who can get gaming or even prohibiting future 3 a.m. licenses?
Right. Well, for me, I wouldn't be for prohibiting 3 o'clock liquor license. I think we just take everything case by case. I don't know necessarily how the original ordinance is going to go. I've had some great discussion with some other aldermen just about fairness, and we sort of went away from the intent of the law from the get-go by even allowing it, and now it may be sort of unfair for future establishments to who want to add gaming to it. I really don't have any druthers with it. As long as there's not any problems, I'm good with it.
What would it mean though if we had some issues with pop-up block parties, right? And if there weren't those 3 a.m. establishments, would that be more of a problem, you think?
I think it could. I mean, because people are going to get restless. We seen it happen during the pandemic.
Right.
People were getting restless and being like, forget it, I'm going out and hanging out with my friends regardless. So people will get reckless, and they will try to find some entertainment after 1 o'clock or whatever hours that they deem deemable. When I was young, we had a lot of house parties and
Yep.
stuff, but, things changed, and we got older, and we was able to go to the bars. That's one of the questions I asked last week. I did not know that you could go anywhere in this city and buy packaged liquor. If I would have known that after 3 o'clock, or after 1 o'clock.
After 1 o'clock,
Yeah,
yeah.
after 1 o'clock, I didn't know that you could go buy packaged liquor.
Imagine that, right?
And
yeah.
if I would have known that when I was 22, 23, I probably would have went to wherever sells them after I missed the 1 o'clock time. So, I don't know, if I was there for that, I probably wouldn't vote. I think everybody needs to, if we're stopped selling liquor at 1 o'clock, we stop selling liquor at 1 o'clock. Not saying that you can't go into a bar and get it. That's just where I would be at on something like that.
We're talking with Springfield Alderman Shawn Gregory on the WMAY morning news feed. Something else that came up last week in the Committee of the Whole was an ordinance I believe you were behind, and you were wanting to get on the consent agenda, but Alderman McGinnis like, no, let's put it on debate, and you vocalized a bit of come on. But, he made a point that
Absolutely.
It's a good ordinance dealing with abandoned properties.
Absolutely.
It might need just a few more words in there to ensure that there's better reporting. What are you hoping to get at here, and what does this ordinance ultimately do?
Well, and I had some good conversations with some different people last night who had a little bit of concern, who really are legit developers and may take interest in many of the vacant houses and things. And, they had concerns about our permitting process and how long that takes versus how long this year threshold is put in, and they make some very, very valid points. So tonight, I want to make sure that we have mechanisms in place that we're not going to, hurt, so to speak, anybody that we're not intended to. I really want this to go to the houses that nobody's lived in forever. Some of these houses have been vacant or in despair since I've been, a young kid.
Wow.
And we really need to adjust them. So those are the houses that we want to get after. We don't want to hurt anybody who's making a conscious effort to really fix these houses. We understand that even the richest are, have some financial woes at this time, during this time. So I understand that, and, this ordinance is not aimed to hurt anybody in that. This is really aimed to speed up the process on houses that have been sitting forever. And people who may have those, unfortunately, I always tell them, we're really past it at this point. It's been sitting there forever, and
it could be. I mean, it's a public health issue,
Absolutely.
right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm sure that you get a lot of phone calls. And we were talking off air about what are some of the things you get most calls about, and this was one of them. Just abandoned properties.
Just abandoned properties.
What are some of the things that your constituents are telling you that are a problem of having those in their neighborhood?
Rodents, kids playing in and out of them. Just to look all together. I have a landscaping business by trade, and sometimes I go and I'll go do a house, and I'm proud of my work. I done lined it up, and next door to it is a house that's ugly and vacant, and I'm the alderman. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I'll call that in and stuff like that. But it's really hard to keep yourself up about your own home when you have something, it's sort of contagious. If one person gets out in their yard, then the neighbor's going to get out in their yard. It's almost like competition a lot of the times.
Yeah, it's pride of ownership.
Absolutely.
Right? There's a sometimes pride's not good, but
Right.
when it comes to pride of ownership of like a home,
Absolutely.
just that drive gets you out there and wants you to make it look nice.
Absolutely.
And I think that in itself is also contagious.
Absolutely.
Talking with Alderman Shawn Gregory about Springfield City Council meeting tonight, and you anticipate that passing with no problems, right?
Yes, I want to make sure on the housing portion, I just want to make sure that we have some things in there. I may hold it just for a week, just to make sure that I got the proper language in there to make sure that no one's hurt that's not intended for us to go after. And I, like I told some concerned parties last night, I have no problem with holding it a little bit, just to make sure we got language in to protect good people who are trying to redevelop these homes. However, I am looking to move this very soon and get after the houses that we need to get after.
Well, like you said, when there's a house or a few that have been vacant since you were young, and you still see those today, that's got to be frustrating.
Absolutely.
Alderman, something else too that we've been kind of touching on from time to time is federal funds.
Yeah.
A lot of money, of course. course, the city of Springfield already got like $17 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, and another $17 million next year. Right. That's like $30+ million that you guys are going to be able to appropriate. What do you think is the best use for that? We've heard broadband, we've heard sewers, we've heard even restoring the budget cuts to the fire department, which I believe has already happened with those funds.
Yes.
But what do you want to see happen with those dollars?
Well, for me, one of the main components, and I said this first, the first thing we got to do is work out whatever amount that we want to dedicate to our homeless issue. And really, I don't have a huge problem with Tent City itself, but I have a problem with the cleanliness of it, and I just feel like we can encourage people to at least clean up after yourselves and throw stuff away. I think that's the minimal. So I want to make sure we dedicate a nice portion of that to really help advance that, and then go on to my ward. Of course, we've been talking about an empowerment zone for some time, which is acquiring some buildings and getting a recreation center back going, as well as a small technology center or computers and things where kids not only come in and do their homework, but also have a resource. And, it's funny, I was talking to one of the guys who does have a resource center, one at Million Ink, and I was out of ink, and I needed to print some important papers, and there was nowhere to go in my community where I could, without calling a pastor or something, that I could print out some papers. I had to mail a paper out. FedEx Kinko's is way west, or, for what I needed. So, this empowerment zone is really centered around teens and young people, really giving them, many of the things that the community has been asking for a long time: recreation, places to go for resources, places to go get on a computer and things of that nature.
On the resources thing, we haven't had another branch of a library, of the public library, for a while, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they had that one branch that closed years ago,
yeah.
And we haven't seen anything like. Is that kind of what you're looking for? Maybe like a public library-esque, a place where people can go study, or in your instance, if you need to do some last-minute printing,
absolutely,
you can go to the library. It might cost you 10 cents a page or something, but you still have that. Should we reevaluate bringing back another branch of the library possibly?
I definitely think that's needed. I think that will be similar to that. I've had some great conversations with our library director, as well as iMagic Nation, who is a literacy group, and they're real high on literacy. They have a plot of land over here, so we're trying to work with them on that. But for this particular empowerment zone, it would just have anything that is going to help our community move forward. And many of the things that we heard, like I said, recreation and more technology services, and just things for our young people to do. And we look to, really execute and give that to them, along with the, that grant our gift, that we got for the park, for Cox Park.
That's right.
And it really just mold that all into one, so they can come out of the empowerment zone and run right into the empowerment park. And
is that what you guys are going to call it? Empowerment Park?
I don't know, but it sounds good.
I like that. I like that. That's awesome. That works very well. Alderman, we are out of time.
Yes,
it's amazing how fast time flies when you're having a good conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we'll talk again soon. Good luck tonight.
Absolutely.
And it's Springfield Alderman Shawn Gregory here on the WMAY Morning News Feed. Let's take a quick break for weather, and then we'll be back with more here on WMAY. The forecast: the high of 73, the low of 62. Got a chance of showers, with chance of showers tomorrow as well. 74 the high, warming up to a high of 77.